Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro Division with the tournament wind here for the qualifying round in Golf Clash the game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. You can get the ultimate tournament guides, the best guides on the market for Pro, Expert and or Master by going to Patreon. Link to Patreon and our guides is in the description down below. Follow the info box on the right hand side to get the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment and also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. Hole number 1 is going to be a tough one because we do have a slight headwind here from start. We're going to play with 5.5 bar topspin and 2 bars of right spin and NMT, meaning no movement, so we're not going to touch the target until it's time to adjust the rings. You can see that I added 5 bars topspin to start, but trust me, I will change to 5.5 before the shot has ended. Adjustment is max plus 10. Is what we go with, and then after that we will then apply overpower only with extra mile level 6 and 7, which is going to be 1.5 rings, compensate for the less topspin. Extra mile level 8 and 9 shall not use any overpower whatsoever, because here we don't really want to go too far. We do want to get ourselves into around 360 to 370 yards, so we can play with our Grizzly in complete minimum distance. Now for the second shot, I would recommend to have packed the runner as a short iron. The reason for that is to find the minimum distance line much easier. Unfortunately, I forgot about that, so I packed the thorn, but we can still work with it. It's just that it's going to be a little bit trickier. So go to absolute min line, then you push up 2 rings. Important that it is 2 rings because 1 ring will be too little. We push up 2 rings, and then from there we're going to apply backspin and backspin only, no side spin, so I have the ball guideline to the hole. Adjustment will then, based on pushing up 2 rings, which I shall always play minimum distance with a 30% over adjustment, power 4 ball settings. Very important that we play power 4 ball settings instead of power 3, because we will then get those 2 extra decimal with power 4, which we don't get with power 3, and will therefore get the drop instead of the miss. Perfect ball, and I'm not saying that this is going to be a shot that we drop all day and every day, but this is, in my opinion, a very good chance to start off with an eagle. Hole number 2, we are going to play with our quarterback because we do have a headwind and we still want to go for the rough bump. The reason for that is that if we're going to play with a shot that is risky in some sort, meaning going into the rough or into the bunker with a great, I'd rather take the chances of doing it with a rough bump instead of bouncing on a fairway where the hole-in-one chance is less. So we're gonna talk about that in the end of this video here. Minimum distance minus 10%. We are using 2.5 bar backspin and half a bar of left spin. And minimum distance minus 10% is with power 1 ball settings. And navigator ball is the ball. We don't need anything else. And we hit it off there with a perfect. A minor great left and a great right will still be safe. Have that in mind. So what I meant with bouncing on the fairway instead of doing a rough bump when it is a little bit of a risky approach is because if we're bouncing on the right fairway and hit a bad great left, then we're gonna go into the rough or into the sand. And playing on the fairway pad on the left is basically for me only to get ourselves a birdie with very slim chance for an hole-in-one in my opinion. So with that in mind, I'm going for the rough bump. Even though it looks scary, you need to be spot on with your adjustment, but if you hit perfect, it's gonna be a very high drop rate. Hole number 3, and this is gonna be a good chance. Right side of the yellow ring by the rough line in complete max, and that's gonna be the same for extra mile level 6, 7, 8, and 9. The only thing that we're gonna do different here is that we're gonna add a different amount of overpower depending on what club you have. So extra mile level 8 and 9, you use whatever overpower you adjust into. So if you adjust 1 ring into overpower, you use 1 ring. If you do play with extra mile level 6 or 7, you need to add an extra ring to that. So if you adjust 1 ring into overpower, you use 2 rings of overpower instead. Second shot is going to be a little bit tricky due to the fact that we do have a little headwind, and this shot is way trickier with headwind than what it is with crosswind or tailwind. Most importantly, we need to be into the funnel, so add spins, 2.5 left spin and then 2.1 top spin. Ball guideline to go through the hole, very important, otherwise you will fall short. Adjustment here in the video is using no elevation, and we're using based on yardage. We're using 348 yards to be 50% slider, meaning medium distance, and here I'm not using any elevation. I would like for us to use 10% elevation here, based on that no elevation make us just miss way, just very right of cup. So in the end, 10% elevation to be used here on hole number 3. Tricky one with this type of wind angle, but with a 10% elevation instead, we have a good chance. Hole number 4, and here we're going to play with the Grizzly as a long iron, but the Sniper as a wood club. The reason we want Grizzly is to easier find absolute min line, because playing with a Goliath or B52, then it's going to flicker over from long iron and then to wood club all the time. It's better to have this firm line when setting it up here. 4.2 top spin, 2 left spin, and then we're gonna aim very close to the rough line in complete minimum distance with a ball guideline through the hole. Minimum distance with a 10% over adjustment, power 1 ball settings, hit perfect, and this will have a good chance for a drop. The reason I do play with a Quasar is because it has 2 left spin, and obviously if you do have any special ball you can use that as well. That's obviously completely up to you, but we're trying to keep it free to play here when we play Pro. You could see that even if we aim very close to the rough line, we will not be going over the rough line here, because the headwind will slightly compress the ball guideline, give us a bit more room when we hit our first bounce into the rough. For hole number 1, we're gonna start with stretching out our club into absolute max distance here, because we want to see the ball guideline go straight down the fairway before the spins has been applied. 4.5 bar top spin to make sure that we can play this shot even with lower level extra miles. 1 bar left spin, and once we have done that, we shall adjust for a maximum distance plus 10. Those of you that do have the possibility to play with more topspin could technically do that and actually get this ball to green for a potential hole-in-one. Have in mind though, there is a glitch roll on green, that there is a very easy risk, not easy risk, but there is a very good chance that you might roll over the green and then you roll into the rough. So I personally would rather have a situation like this, where I go short of green, having a very short wedge towards the pin. Second shot, I'm playing EB School, so I am measuring out, going to max club to see in terms of where the pin stands. And then I base my adjustment of that. The 20% elevation is what we use for EB School here, no spin applied. And then hit perfect, and this ball is gonna drop. What we would like to have in mind as well is that even though I play with a snow globe, a berserker ball works equally well. The reason I play with a snow globe is because I am out with berserkers, and this is the closest to another power 5 ball that I do have for use. So hole number 5 is a very good chance for an eagle. Hole number 6, very boring and tough wind here. So what I'm gonna do is to only play for eagle here. I'm not really gonna care about the albatross at all. So 4.5 bar top spin, 2 right spin. My only focus is to have the ball guideline to be straight down the fairway and then adjust from there. Max plus 10, power 3 ball settings, and I'm playing with a Titan. If you do have an extra mile level 5 or 6, 6 or 7, you start at the plus 2 yard mark. Extra mile level 8 or 9 start just before the plus 1 yard mark. It could happen that you adjust into overpower just a little bit with extra mile 6 and 7 especially. Then compensate by using that amount as overpower when you take your shot. Second shot, you can see we are far away from the green, so what I'm gonna do is to play on the fairway path that is to the right there of the to the right, and then we have 2 left spin, 6 top spin, adjust its max plus 20, and here it's the same to applied if you do adjust into overpower, use the amount you adjust into as overpower on your shot. If not adjusting into overpower, you're just gonna play it normal as here on the video. Bounce on the fairway, bounce onto the fairway there on the other side, and it rolls down the hill, and we're gonna have a very safe and short wedge for an eagle. So this is the way to play hole number 6 to secure the eagle and not try to do anything stupid and lose out and get a birdie. Hole number 7, and we are going to play with a very specific landing spot. So you look for the bullseye to be just by the edge of the rough, like just before it turns over to looks like it bounced on the fairway. Then we're gonna play 3.8 bars of backspin and 1 left spin. Very important that you do get the full 3.8 bars of topspin, so you're not getting closer to 3.7 like I'm doing here in the video. Medium distance with a 10% over adjustment is also 1-to-1. So you're gonna adjust 6.9 rings for 6.9 miles per hour. Have in mind that those of you playing with sniper level 7 or level 8 needs to play with a power 3 ball, because otherwise you will go in between clubs and that's not gonna be fun to use overpower on this play here. Perfect ball, great left, great right has all been safe, and a perfect will give us a good chance for a drop, but with a direct headwind here, this is not going to be an easy one. Hole number 8, and this is going to be a good chance, but we're going to start by having a kind of a tough drive, so this one needs to be spot on because we can't afford going into the sand or into the rough. No movement, don't touch the target until it's time to adjust the rings. And we're gonna play with 6 topspin and 2 left spin. We do recommend to play with extra mile level 8 or 9 if possible. Then obviously if having 6 or 7, then we can play with those as well. The only difference we need to do there is to go with pushing up into max, and then obviously use the same overpower listed as well. So we do want to use 2 rings of overpowered, but the only difference once again is to push up to max. Ball getting down to 391, and 391 is going to be 59% slider with 20% elevation. That's at least what we do estimate it as, and has been working so far. So 1 right spin, and then ball guideline to be short of hole, approximately half a green square with our thorn. Have in mind that thorn does only have 4.2 ball guideline, which obviously is a little bit less than max. So we need to leave the ball guideline short, especially when we do have a little tailwind. Otherwise we will come in too hot, and then you risk bounce in and out, and that's gonna be, yeah, that's not gonna be fun at all. So adjustment is done, pull over bullseye as always when I do make my pulls, and then hit perfect. In this case, we are a little bit low with our pull, but still getting this ball to drop on the right side of the cup. But again, it doesn't really matter how it drops, just that it drops. So hole number 8 is a good chance for an eagle. Hole 9 is as boring as hole number 6, and we're only gonna play for an eagle here. Ball guideline straight down the fairway with the spins applied. 6 top spin, 2 right spin, and then we adjust from max position, we adjust max plus 10. Full blast overpower with the Titan that we do have. Obviously if you play with a power 5, you may have to reduce the overpower a little bit, but I feel it's just not worth spending any good ball here. It's just enough to spend a Titan, play it down there, and be done with it. Even if you have more than 6 topspin, use all the topspin you can, because you have a lot of room on that fairway. So, second shot, we play with the big dog. We play with a wood club that do have the most power possible. That's the only thing you should be thinking about here for the second shot. 2 backspin, 2 right spin, but more importantly, the tip of the ball guideline to be pin high. Then you know that the speed is gonna come in a nice way. Max plus 20 power 3 ball settings, and here I would like you to adjust. I like you to use 1 ring more of overpower than you adjust into. And even if I hit a very bad great right, I'm still safe and I'm still on the green by using 2 balls of curl to the right. So again, I might sound bored talking about hole 9, but it's not a fun win because it doesn't leave us any type of option in my opinion, if we're not pulling out one of the big boy clubs and a special ball, and I'm not interested in doing that, especially not in the qualifying round. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Pro Division with the tournament win here for the Valley of the Dead tournament in Golf Clash the game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Get the ultimate tournament guides for Pro, Expert and or Master. Link to Patreon and our guides is in the description down below. Once again, thank you for watching and good luck in the Golf Clash game.